Psych 102 Introduction to Personality, Social and Lifespan. Section 1 Psychology of Lifespan. Introduction. This lecture introduces the student to the concept of development and the term used to describe it: maturation, growth, and learning. Objectives. At the end of the lecture, you should be able to 1. Highlight the relationship between growth, learning, and maturation, and 2. Examine what it means to take a lifespan perspective on development, and also see the contribution of science to the field. Pretext. What is development? Content. Lifespan involves how individuals change over time and the processes that create those changes. Virtually all of us, Queen Elizabeth, President Yar'Adua, Alhaji Dokubo, you and I, began walking around age 1, talking by age 2, and as children we engage in social play in preparation for life's serious work. We all smile, cry, love, and hate, and occasionally ponder the fact that someday we will die. Although the early years of life are when many new developmental events occur. Thus, psychologists are interested in changes across the entire lifespan. 3 main processes or concepts give our understanding of human development. They are growth, maturation, and learning. Growth. Growth is one of the most noticeable features of early development, that is, increase in size that occurs with changing age. Growth takes place through metabolic processes from within. Most organisms get larger as they become older. For some, including human beings, growth levels off as they approach sexual maturity. Maturation is another aspect of development. It concerns the more or less automatic unfolding of biological potential in a set, irreversible sequence. Both growth and maturation entail biological change. But whereas growth refers to the increase in an individual's cells and tissue, maturation concerns the development of his or her organs and limbs to the point where they become functional. In other words, maturation reflects the unfolding of genetically prescribed or pre-programmed patterns of behavior. Such changes are relatively independent or environmental, even as long as environmental conditions remain normal. The 2 processes that cause individuals to change across their lifetimes are maturation and learning. Maturation refers to developmental changes that occur as a result of the aging process, not from injury, illness, or other life experience, including learning. Maturation information is encoded in an individual's genes. On the other hand, learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior or potential behavior as a result of experience or practice. When discussing any type of development, most theorists break it down into specific stages. These stages are typically progressive. In other words, you must pass through one stage before you can get to the next. How did a child learn running? He or she had to learn to crawl first, subsequently learn to walk, and finally he or she would have developed the skills needed to run. Without the first 2 stages, running would be an impossibility. Included in the lecture series are the most prominent stage theories of Freund's psychosexual and Erikson psychosocial. Although a person can fail to complete the stages, the failure may, however, result in difficulties later in life, according to the theories. Before the theories, Let's take a look at the major issue in developmental psychology and principle guiding development. Theories of development. Freud's theory of psychosexual development. Sigmund Freud, 1856 to 1939, is probably the most well-known theorist when it comes to the development of personality. He was born in Moravia to Jewish parents who moved with him to Vienna when he was 4 years old. He practiced as a neurologist. Freud was intrigued by the reports that psychiatrist Joseph Breuer successfully used a talking cure to treat conversion hysteria. Breuer found that by encouraging his patients to talk freely about whatever came to mind, they became aware of the psychological causes of their physical symptoms and as a result experienced emotional release or catharsis. This led to the disappearance of the symptoms. Freud attributed the symptoms of conversion hysteria to unconscious sexual conflicts, which were symbolized in the symptoms. For example, paralyzed leg might represent a sexual conflict. His claim is that sexuality was an important determinant of human behavior, shocked and disgusted many of his contemporaries. Rapp, 1988. Freud's stages of psychosexual development are, like other stage theories, completed in a predetermined sequence and can result in either successful completion and healthy personality or can result in failure. Leading to an unhealthy personality, Freud assumed that personality development depends on changes in the distribution of sexual energy, which he called libido, in regions of the body he called erogenous zones. Stimulations of these regions produces pleasure. His concern was with stages of psychosexual development. Failure to progress smoothly through a particular stage can cause fixation, a tendency to continue to engage in behaviors associated with that stage. In sum, people enter the world as unbridled pleasure seekers. Freud's theory of development has two primary ideas. Firstly, that everything you become is determined by your first few years. Indeed, the adult is exclusively determined by the child's experiences, because whatever actions occur in adulthood are based on a blueprint laid down to the earliest years of life. Childhood solutions to problems are perpetuated, and that's the story of development is about individuals handle antisocial impulses in socially acceptable ways. Libido was Freud's word for psyche and sexual energy. How libido is expressed depends on the stage of development, but in each stage of development, there are frustrations. If those frustrations are not successfully dealt with, then the libido will be tied to that stage of development more than it should. There is so much libido for each person, and to develop successfully, a person cannot use too much of their libido in one stage, because then there will be less for the others. Such overuse will be reflected in later behavior in one of two ways. 1. Fixation may occur, which could mean that there are lingering desires for pleasure from the source experience at that stage. 2. Reaction formation may occur, which could be taking the lingering desire for pleasure from some source and acting in the opposite way. Freud proposed that there were 5 stages of development. Freud believed that few people successfully completed all 5 of the stages. Instead, he felt that most people tied up their libido at one of the stages, which prevented them from using that energy at a later stage. Oral stage. It covers the period from birth to 18 months. Freud called the first year of infancy the oral stage of development, because the infant gains pleasure from activities such as biting, sucking, and chewing. The most important social conflict of this stage is weaning. If infant is inadequately weaned, it results in too much or too little oral gratification, resulting in an oral fixation or oral personality, which is evidenced by a preoccupation with oral activities. Fixation may lead to an oral dependent personality marked by passivity, dependency, and gullibility. The person will swallow anything and might become a sucker. Such individual may also fight these urges and develop pessimism and aggression towards others, marked by cruelty and sarcastic. This type of personality may have a stronger tendency to excessive use of oral stimulation, smoking, drinking alcohol, overeating, or biting his or her nails. Anal stage. A child enters anal stage between 18 months to 2 years. The child's focus of pleasure in this stage is on eliminating and retaining feces. He or she obtains pleasure from defecation and experiences an important conflict regarding toilet training. Friend claimed that inadequate toilet training, either premature or delayed, can lead to fixation at the oral stage. Anal fixation may lead to two personality types: the anal retentive personality, marked by compulsive cleanliness, orderliness, and fussiness, and the anal expulsive personality, marked by sloppiness, stinginess, stubbornness, carelessness, messiness, and informality. In short, the individual have their first encounter with rules and regulations, as they have to learn to be toilet trained. This encounter with rules and regulation will dictate the later behavior with rules and regulations. Essentially, behavior related to retention and expulsion may be related to experiences at this stage. Summary. The students have learnt the following. 1. Development is described in terms of growth, maturation, and learning. 2. Introduced to Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages of development. 3. The expression of libidinal energy is influenced by the stage of development. End of study section 1. Thanks for listening.